Hi, good evening everybody. I think I'm live. Nice to see you, if you're there. I can't imagine there's anybody there at all actually, but I can talk quite happily to myself, so it's not a problem really. So I just want to say, tonight I'm going to sing obviously different 4 songs to the 4 songs I sang last time. And I've got some early songs and I've got a more recent one to finish on. And they've all got a little bit of a sort of brief story behind them because people did seem to like to know the story behind the song. So the first song is the very first song I wrote about my mum. And I have written lots about my parents, as those of you who've listened to me before, if there's anybody there, will appreciate. Well, I don't know if you'll appreciate, but you'll be aware of that. But this is the first one I wrote, and it was so long ago that I wrote it in the shed by hand, and wrote my notes on, and I never typed it up, which is what I now do nowadays. And I write little hieroglyphics on because I don't really know the names of any of my chords. I did in the days that I wrote this one because I was only using the usuals. So this is an early song. Oh, that's the wrong one. And it's about my mum who has Alzheimer's disease, and it goes back to July of 2019. And so that really in many ways shows me how long all this has been going on, and it had been going on a few years before, and things have got worse unfortunately, but things were not good even then, as this song records that she would walk around at night, and she would walk around with a telephone and not quite know what it was anymore, and but she did still love her dancing, which you can still get her to do a little bit of dancing now. And she would even in those days enjoy going to the recycling tip, which is one of my parents' favourite activities. They drive to because my dad's driving, which is a bit of a hazardous thing, but still driving, and they drive to the recycling tip. And as he quite wittily said recently, it was the equivalent to going to Benidorm for them nowadays, going to the recycling. But in this song, it records how Mum had taken to dancing with the men at the recycling tip. And that was true, she would dance with them. I don't know that she is anymore. And Dad said they were lovely, they danced with her in their shiny orange jackets and their big boots and things whilst he was recycling. He managed to slice his finger nearly off today at the recycling, but anyway, that's another story. So this goes back to July 2019. And it's got a reference to my brothers because I wrote it as if it was a kind of letter to them. And I doubt very much that one of them's listening. What the other one might do at some point. But anyway, so it addresses my brothers and it's about our mum. It's called Wren. Oh yes, I'm still talking, aren't I? Not singing. It's called Wren because we would watch the birds in the garden. We still do. We're down to pigeons now on the roof, but in those days we used to watch this little wren that would scutter around like a little mouse by the kitchen doors here. And it occurred to me that, and then we would see this wren we'd seen this wren a couple of years running as it were, except one of my brothers, they're both sort of ornithologists, informed me it would be a different wren because they have very short lives. But the whole thing became rather potent for a metaphor for Mum. So the song is called Wren. Our mother's leaving us. There's no way around it, it's so sad. My brother's, her bookcase of memories is crumbled, it is fallen, it's too hard for each other. Wandering around the dead heart of midnight, lost in her own home, trawling her mind through the shadows for the sunlight. She holds tight to the useless telephone. But when she is dancing, she drops all inhibition. It's freedom, my brothers. She loses herself with the men at the recycling. They all have their mothers. Lost in her labyrinth of diminishing signposts, her world is a blank stare. Freed only when sleeping, but what if she's not dreaming? Just an empty nightmare, or just an empty nightmare. What can I do now? Her hands are ringing, I'm helpless. My brothers pointlessly showing the pictures of her other life, her false smile just can't cover all the dark places, the days and the faces. Her map is in tattoos. We struggle to contemplate as if it could compensate that bad lie. It's now that matters, or that bad old lie. It's now that matters. Wren in the flower bed, we watch him each summer. She thinks it's the same bird. You told me, my brothers, the wren's life is fleeting. It's small grace for the mind's blood. Oh, it's small grace for the mind's blood. Yes, it's small grace for us and for her. Well, I hope you could hear that. It's very difficult actually singing into the void of the screen. But anyway, so that's a sad song, and in fact the next song I'm going to sing, Scooting Forwards, is a little bit later on in the year, the 2019, when I first started writing all these songs, and I bought my lovely guitar and decided I was going to write songs rather than sing other people's songs, having not sung for years doing anything really. This song, I'll just check it's still more or less in tune because we had the capo on before. This song is a sort of follow-on to the last month's Home Songs, where I sang a song called Hungry, which is a recent song, and it referred to a memory about my old boyfriend Peter, and I told the story about standing out in the snow when we were students when I first knew him. And I told that story, I'm not going to tell it again, I can assure you, but this is another song about Peter, and it's about... he was a very important person in my life for many years until I was 30. A lovely man, actually. And we went sailing and things. He was a good sailor. He used to listen to the shipping forecast and write notes at midnight and things. He was quite eccentric in those days. We all did funny things in those days, I suppose. And he was a lovely guy, and he used to go sailing. And he's sailing now. He's retired, and he's sailing around the world and has been for a few years, I think. I'm not sure where he'll be now because of the COVID thing. But I lost touch with him years and years ago. And I do think about him sometimes, and of course I did give him the bloody runaround. And this song reflects on that really, about the fact that I didn't perhaps treat him as well as I should have done. And it's called Like a Honeybee, and it refers to the fact that the singer, me, is a bit like those insects that eat their prey. It's a sort of extreme version of not being the ideal girlfriend. But anyway, it's called Like a Honeybee, and it's one of the first sort of blues songs I wrote. I wrote it in November, according to my notes, of 2019. Hope you like this one. Beginning of my interest in sort of singing bluesy type songs. Ba-da-da-da-da, da-da-dee-da. now, my old friend, you might know it's you that I'm referring to. If you're out there listening, perhaps you recognize me. I'm the one who, like a honeybee, like a mayfly, like a spider, intent on destroying us. When we were young back then, love just grew bitterly, wider and wider, deeper and crueler, taking us lower, lower, oh, till we drown. Ba-da-da-da-dee, da-da. Do you recall standing under my window, carving our names in the deep, surprising snow? What is that? What am I doing here? Oh, this is all odd. There it is. What a relief. I was lazy with your true love, took it lightly, laughed at you long ago. Now anxiety taps on my window asking, oh, why did I hurt you so? Ba-da-ba-da-dee, da-dee, da-da-dee. Like a honeybee, like a mayfly, like a spider who took what they wanted, then died. Ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da. I'm so sorry, my old friend. Hope you're still sailing, finding your own way on the ocean. If you're out there listening, perhaps you recognize me. I'm the one who, like a honeybee, like a mayfly, like a spider, took what they wanted, then died. Like suicide, like a honeybee, like a mayfly, like a spider who took what she wanted, then died. Bit of a right royal mess at the middle of that. That's because my hieroglyphics have changed and I didn't recognise my own notes. So there you go, because I don't know the names of my chords. So it was this thing up here and I'd written something down. I don't know what it is to this day, but anyway. So there we go. Never mind, hope it didn't spoil the pathos of the song. Right, now here's another one. This is another sort of blues. They're all a bit, this one, the last one's a bit more. Well, no, actually the last one's not particularly cheerful either. So they're all a bit bluesy tonight. This one's about my son Jamie, who's now left home. And although it's all a bit of a shock to the system, I think, the whole thing of it. But anyway, he's left home and he's been sleeping on somebody's floor for weeks and weeks in a sleeping bag, which I'm definitely going to burn when he gets his rented place sorted out on Monday, when I'm shooting to take him some bedding and some towels and so on. And then I'm shooting from there, from Derbyshire, up to to Northumberland, because I'm actually doing some studio recording starting on the Tuesday morning, which I'm really quite looking forward to. And I've been trawling through all my songs, these ridiculous piles of songs. I've got my books here to show you how many songs I've written. If I can pick it up, I'll just show you. Because I'm not bragging, I'm just showing you, because most of them, when I go through them, which I've been doing today and yesterday, are utter rubbish. So these are my books. Number 3, that's what we're on now. Number 2, obviously Honeybee might be in there, not sure. And then that's number 1, and they're just packed with these 200 songs, which I obviously don't know, because I've just proved that, haven't I? And there's 1 or 2 early songs that are sort of okay, but even in, it's all very dubious. So I thought I'd be struggling to find a little set of songs to do, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be struggling from having too many. I'm going to struggle to find enough decent ones, really. But this is one called 50 Swallows, and it's about Jamie, who I was in the snow earlier this year. I was imagining that this moment was coming, which of course it has now come, about him leaving, and whilst I'm delighted he's left, the song takes on a more perhaps expected motherly note of the dreading of the leaving. That's a slight porky pie, because I was longing for him to get on with his life, because he was nearly 25 years old. But nevertheless, it recounts a memory when he was a little lad, and I lived in a house with his dad, and it was hot summer, and he was about 4 or 5, I think. And the windows were all open. It was a very hot night, like it's going to be tonight. And big windows on the landing, they're all open. And in the morning, suddenly he came running down the corridor. Had a long landing, this house. He came running down. He was absolutely beside himself, because he was going, there's birdies, there's birdies. And indeed there were birdies. There were dozens of swallows that had obviously fledged from the old building next door, where they'd been, they'd hatched their brood. And they'd found their way in, and they were sort of doing Spitfire laps of the top landing, and we hadn't put the curtains up for some reason. I just remember, or closed them, but they all just lined themselves up on the curtain poles as if they were telegraph wires. We all had a look at them, and then they flew off again, and Jamie was beside himself with the whole thing, as indeed we all were. It was most exciting. So it recalls that. It's called 50 Swallows, and I've drawn that together with the idea of him leaving, as the birds did when they fledged and went on their way. So it's a memory song, and when people ask me where do your songs come from, a lot of them come from little incidents that I remember, and then I extrapolate these extravagant ideas out of them, or not. 50 Swallows. Who knows where you'll go when you leave in summer? Lord knows, oh Lord knows what will be in your future. It's snowing right now in the tail end of the winter. Oh, I'm cold to the bone when I think about you leaving home. It's been no time at all since you stood in that doorway, and 50 swallows flew through the open windows into the hall, into the stairway, and settled on the empty curtain pole. And you were laughing until you were crying, or you were laughing until you were crying. Oh, darling, time to fly. time to say goodbye. Don't look back at me. Oh, please, don't dare look back at me. And since I was 17, I have played that song, No Tomorrow. It's the one that Sandy sang to me. You know, who knows where the time goes. But I never knew till now, parting were really such sweet sorrow. Who knows how it will be in summer when you leave? Oh, Lord knows, Lord only knows what anyone's future holds. But sure as the birds fly all the windows, and I'm gonna hope that 50 swallows, oh, at least 50 swallows will choose to nest under my eaves, you know, and I'll be laughing till I'm crying. Oh, laughing until I'm crying. I'll be laughing until I'm crying. So that's 50 swallows, and I've got one final song for you, which I can find here, I hope. And this is very recent in that it was written on the 16th of June this month, so it's not my most recent song, but it's another bluesy thing, so I thought I would sort of stick with the blues tonight, really. I hope you don't mind. I hope you're not all being dragged down. I can't see if anybody's there at all. And but it doesn't matter because, as you can tell, I'm perfectly happy talking to myself. And there's a very nice man called Chris, actually, who did my sound checking, and I think he's there. Anyway, so hello, Chris. This is called Find Me a River. Didn't I tell you I was restless? Haven't I shouted out loud and clear? Couldn't you see that I was drifting down the estuary of my own tears? Hasn't it been a long time coming? This drawn out pulling piece by piece apart. Or wouldn't you just prefer the breaking of these two fatally damaged hearts? All I need is to find me a river to glide upon. Oh, find me a sailor who will guide me along. find me the one to put the smile back on this old face of mine. And you might shake your sorry head in consternation, but I'm right, you know I am. There's no point in delaying the devastation. Ooh, I'm right, I know I am. All I need is to buy me a river to glide upon. Find me a sailor who will guide me along. Find me the one to put the smile back on this old face of mine. Find me a river to glide upon. Find me a sailor who will guide me along. Oh, find me the one to put the smile back on this old face of mine. This old face of mine. So, those are my 4 bluesy songs for tonight, from the first one and the second one with the dodgy middle bit, just to make sure you were on your toes there. And then through the one about Jamie, which is from earlier this winter, to this one, which is more recent. And it's quite interesting, actually, for me to feel the difference and to feel the similarities and whether it's growth or not, I don't know. But anyway, I don't think anybody's there. But if you are there and I just haven't clicked the right button, thank you for being there. And if you're not there, well, it doesn't matter really. So I'll see you again in a month's time if you are there, and potentially for the first time if you're not there, if you understand. It's a bit existential, that. Never mind, my friend Dave would understand that if he's out there somewhere. So good night, everybody, and I'll see you in a month's time. God willing. Bye.